The NFL landscape has just changed yet again for the Chiefs, and two big bombshell moves are going to affect our 2026 schedule. I'm going to talk about that. Plus, we're going to talk about a wide receiver that a lot of Chiefs Kingdom was wanting back on the team, and they're no longer available. We're going to talk about all that and more, so stick around. Welcome back. I appreciate you guys being here. What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Let's jump right into it today. I want to talk about the big trades that happened in the NFL just yesterday, and that is Myles Garrett going from the Browns to the Rams, and then also we've got A.J. Brown going from the Eagles to the Patriots. Now, how does this affect the Chiefs? Well, here we go. In Week 13, the Chiefs do have a Thursday night football matchup versus the Rams. Yeah, look, we already lost Trent McDuffie to the Rams. We already lost Jalen Watson to the Rams. And now they add the premier pass rusher in all of the NFL. So they are building a super team in LA. They do this every other year, seemingly. I don't even know how they do it. It's like cap space and things do not apply to some of these teams. It is wild. Apparently, they've just figured it out. But here's one thing they have figured out, or I figured out on them, is they do not like draft picks. Like, they're willing to just give away a draft pick. Like, if you've got a bag of hot Cheetos, they're giving you a draft pick for it. And they probably should. We watched them this year select very, very early Ty Simpson.
Oh, my God. That's horrible.
So, yeah, they probably should get rid of those draft picks. They're not very good at that. And so bringing in a guy like Myles Garrett, I think actually does help their defense in the short term for years to come. He's amazing. The Chiefs are going to be battling him now in Week 13. That was a must-watch game already, but now this becomes a must-watch game. Is it must-win for the Chiefs? Maybe not, but it is a potential Super Bowl matchup that they could see later in the future if we are prepared and have progressed enough to even be able to call ourselves a Super Bowl contender. And that's what that game is going to provide for us. That's going to be the first litmus test for our offense and our new offense of possibly running the ball more. Maybe Patrick Mahomes by Week 13 should be more Patrick Mahomes-esque. That maybe is not a problem, but we're going to see how much we're running the ball. Are we running more 12 personnel? Are we running more under center? Has our young wide receiver group actually developed? Can they now get open on guys like Jalen Watson and Trent McDuffie? Has our offensive line and Josh Simmons and whoever wins at right tackle, maybe the cream will have risen to the top there at the right tackle, but can our offensive line be able to withstand that pass rush now led by Myles Garrett? Those are big, big tests for the Chiefs in Week 13, and I think that is going to be a huge, huge test for Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, Patrick Mahomes, this entire offense, to see just how far they've come in 12 weeks before it. I know it's going to feel different. It may feel different for them. The odds are it could not look any different. We've all seen how Andy Reid likes to kind of say things and then goes back to kind of his old ways. But we're all thinking that with Eric Bieniemy, it is going to switch up a little bit. So we're going to get to see now. You're going to play a playoff Super Bowl caliber team on Week 13. I think at this point, you're going to learn enough about that offense, what we need to tweak for the rest of the remainder of the schedule, things like that. I think you're going to find that out in Week 13, and it could be a cold reality wake-up call if things haven't progressed right. But I have a little bit of faith. I do think that we will go out there and compete with them, and hopefully this will be a big sign and a big confirmation to this offense and to everybody that, look, the hard work you've done, as hard as it was to try to run the ball more for you, Andy, as hard as it was to try to coach these wide receivers up, Chad O'Shea, and try to get all this together, and maybe the early bumps and bruises you're going to take from maybe not having a more mobile Patrick Mahomes and working through those offensive line struggles. Maybe this is where it all comes together for that offense, and you either see how close we are to being a Super Bowl contender, or you see just how vastly far away we are, and then we're talking, are we even going to squeak into the playoffs at this point? And so I think that's a big matchup. And then 2 weeks later, we're going on to the Patriots, and they just grabbed A.J. Brown. But before I get into A.J. Brown, I wanted to announce last week's Zarda giveaway winner. It's Adam Brown. Congratulations, Adam. Email allchiefedup@gmail.com, and we're going to give away another Zarda giveaway this week. So like, comment, make sure you're subscribed to this channel, and we're giving away a 20-ounce Zarda barbecue sauce plus some other goodies. You don't want to miss it. I'll put that sauce on everything I can find. It's amazing. Don't miss out. Like, comment, make sure you're subbed to the channel. Back to the show. So let's talk about A.J. Brown week 15 versus the Patriots. That's a Monday Night Football. And as much as there was a litmus test for the offense versus that super team defense in week 13, now our young defense, and specifically our secondary, our young secondary is going to have a tough battle versus not only Drake May, Travion Henderson, Hunter Henry, but now you're going up against wide receivers. Yeah, you've got some guys like Kyle Williams, who's young. You've got guys like Mac Holland, but they've got a pretty big three. Assuming he isn't traded by then, Kayshon Boutte, A.J. Brown, and then they went out and signed Romeo Doubs from the Packers in the offseason. So that is three big-time wide receivers right there that our young secondary now has to match up against. And I think this is going to be their litmus test. Has Spags' defense gelled enough? Has Dave Merritt been able to get the most out of these guys? I trust Noah Williams. I do know sophomore seasons, you can have sophomore slumps. That's a big thing. Coaches get film on you. They'll test you more. They see your weaknesses. Maybe they see he's a little grabby. Maybe the NFL's picked up on it. He's getting more penalties. Who knows what the outcome is? But I think Noah Williams is enough of a baller and enough of he's a dog. Okay, so I think he's going to be prepared enough that he's not going to be a liability. Let's hope Christian Fulton is healthy at that point in the season. That would be great. Monsoor Delane is now going to have 14 weeks to get prepared for this. You've got guys like Jaden Canaday, Christian Rowland Wallace, Kevin Knowles, possibly if he makes the team. You've got all these guys coming in. I want to see how the secondary is gelling and how they have gelled by week 15. This is a big-time matchup against possibly somebody you're fighting for the number one overall home field advantage seed for. And so this is going to be a big game. It's going to be a primetime Monday Night Football game. I think it's a huge litmus test to see how far this defense has come or just how far away we are from not only being a Super Bowl contender to even deserving to be in the playoffs. I think you're really going to find out in these landmine of games that the NFL has constructed for us. And then after these two trades, it's got even crazier week 13, week 15, and then you still got San Francisco thrown in that loop. You've got all kinds of stuff going on there. So it is going to be a test. Yes, early, we got a little bit of a break. In the middle of the season, we face a few teams that maybe shouldn't be good. We should chalk those up as wins, but in the NFL, you never know. But here at the very end of it, from like week 12 on, it just gets nasty. And now with Myles Garrett and A.J. Brown, two players that we wasn't even going to have to touch this year, now we got a game plan for those guys. It makes it even harder. But look, here's one thing I'm going to say. Patrick Mahomes isn't scared of these kinds of games, these kinds of moments. He's not scared. Andy Reid has been here before. He's not scared. Eric Bieniemy is a warrior. He is a leader of men. He has been here before. Kenneth Walker has been here before. All of these guys have been here. Hell, even DeMarco Murray. He's been here before. These guys aren't scared of nobody. We're not scared. We're going to be ready to go. We're going to be ready to play. And I think, look, we may lose them both, but it's going to be close games. I don't think by week 13 and week 15, we're going to be a horrible, horrible team. I absolutely do not. Could we be fighting for the playoffs? Yeah, it is a possibility. It's a possibility this team wins less than 10 games. It's kind of brutal in certain stretches. But there's also a possibility we can win 14 or 15 games, and this team could really find their stride and come together at the right time. And I think those two games are big tests, one for the offense, one for the defense, of just how far this team has came and just how much more work they need to do to not only get to the playoffs, but to be a Super Bowl contender and bring home another Super Bowl for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. If you like the content today, be sure and hit a subscribe button for me. I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. I'm at about 56,000 right now. It would be great. Also, drop a like on this video. Hit the hype button if you can do that. Some people can, some people can't. Do that for me. All those things help. I appreciate you being here. Hope you got some value out of today's video. So let's talk about Juju Smith-Schuster. He tried out for the New York Giants yesterday, along with Braxton Berrios and Odell Beckham Jr. I didn't even know he was still playing, but I guess he is. And the Giants were like, look, let's just sign all of them. And so they did. So does that mean Juju is never going to be a Chief again? There's a lot of people out there that wanted him back in the red and gold because they thought he brought a lot of something special to the locker room, a leader, a guy who could teach the young kids, a guy who was a safety valve for Patrick Mahomes. He knows the Andy Reid offense. Lots of reasons to bring Juju back. Just a cheap contract. I mean, there's something to that. And so I think with our wide receiver room, a lot of fans are a little shaky about it, and it seems to be some turmoil there. Juju was going to kind of maybe not be an excellent signing, but maybe somebody you could have brought in and stabilized it just a little bit, raise the floor just a little bit more. But it looks like he's going to be in New York. Now, does that mean you got to just write him off all year? No. I don't think the Giants know exactly what they have or what they want with that wide receiver room, and I think that's why they went ahead and just signed off 3 of them. Chiefs Kingdom, we have officially partnered with Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. Prize Picks is a daily fantasy sports platform. It's distinctly separate from a traditional sports book, and it's the absolute best way to add some extra heat to every single game. The app is incredibly easy to use. You aren't playing against sharks. You're just picking more or less on an individual player projection. Think Kenneth Walker's total rushing yards per game, more or less. Travis Kelce's total touchdowns in 2026, only 4, more or less. You just pick at least 2 players, lock in your lineup, and you're in the action. Prize Picks is available in most states, including California, Texas, Florida, and right here in the heart of America, Missouri and Kansas. One thing we love is the new public feed. You can actually find and follow us directly on the app at All Chiefed Up. You'll be able to see our live lineups and tell our picks before we even post them here on the channel or our other social media platforms. So if you haven't joined yet, just download the app and use code HMA when you sign up. When you play your first $5 lineup, you're going to get $50 in lineups instantly. Click the link in the description, use code HMA, and remember to always play responsibly. Now back to the show. Any guy could get cut at any time, be it the preseason, even before week 8, week 9. You could get all these guys cut. It's not a big deal. And so I do think that if the Chiefs needed a wide receiver sometime mid-season and Brett Veach sits on his hands and he doesn't do nothing with the wide receiver group, and you need somebody and you need them to come in a pinch, somebody that knows the system, somebody that Patrick Mahomes trusts, I would not be surprised to see the Chiefs go out and sign Juju Smith-Schuster yet again for a cheap contract, bringing him back to the red and gold. So if you wanted Juju back, keep your head up. It is a possibility he could be back with the Chiefs, maybe even before 2026 is over with. So that's going to wrap it up for today. I appreciate you guys being here. We've talked about a lot of things today, and a lot of it's just some seasonal games and just some wide receiver signings. The Chiefs are going to be back at OTAs. They're there all week, but on Wednesday, we're going to get to hear from some players, see some more clips and everything out of there. So tune in tomorrow as I'll probably cover that OTA session. You guys have a good one. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you next time. Go Chiefs.